David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another review. Today, I have for you something I found to be rather fun. It is an item from Popov Leather. I've reviewed items from Popov Leather previously. I have one of their Hobonichi covers that I use and very much care for. Popov Leather is based out of a small town in eastern British Columbia, Canada called Nelson. It was founded by a gentleman by the name of Ryan Popov. Back in 2013, he took up leatherworking as a hobby with the goal of creating a simple leather wallet. After a lot of trial and error, he was able to create something he was proud of, and Popov Leather was born. Since then, the company has grown to have a team of folks creating a wide variety of high-quality, handmade leather goods. The item of theirs I have for you today is a bit unique. It is a field notes cover. Well, I guess it doesn't need to be specifically only for field notebooks. It is for the typical size field notes produces, which is 3.5 by 5.5 inches. It is not a completed product. There is some assembly required. Check that. There is all assembly required. Through the Popov Leather site, you can purchase do-it-yourself kits, which I think is pretty cool. They provide you with the materials and the instructions in order to assemble leather goods on your own. They offer things like passport holders and wallets and eyeglass cases and leather tags in DIY kits. I think it's a cool concept. To be honest, I'm not certain if other leather companies have offered the same thing, but I haven't seen it before. So you're purchasing a leather good and a project to keep you busy for a couple of hours. And in these very strange times, it's good to have little projects to take your mind away from things. In order to see what I'm talking about, please join me over here at camera 2. This is my Popov Hobonichi cover. It's great. The only difference between this and what you can purchase now is the pen loop. These are elastic, and I believe the ones that come on the current models have leather loops. Now, the field notes cover is essentially this exact same design, but with different dimensions. And in this kit, this is what you receive. You have some leather pieces. And then you have some waxed thread. I'm assuming waxed thread. It's kind of a little bit tacky. And then there is some leather balm. There is a small piece of leather used for burnishing. There is a piece of sandpaper and some needles, as well as a standard field notes cover. The thing that's actually missing from the DIY kits are the pen loops. Those require a bit more expertise to affix, so while the loops are included in the fully assembled product you can purchase from their site, they're omitted from the DIY kit. And you will need to supply 3 additional items. You will need some craft glue, you will need a pair of scissors, as well as a lighter. In addition to what you see here, Popov was kind enough to also include a nylon maul and an alphabet stamp set. Now, these are not included in the DIY kit, but they are available for purchase separately on their site. Now, in order to guide you through the assembly, you are provided with some assistance. On their site, they have an instructional video where Ryan, who is an assembler and sewer for the company, walks you through the process. This is a different Ryan than the owner, Ryan. The instruction video is half an hour long and is well paced. It provides the basic instructions necessary, but is also filled with lots of tips and tricks in order to produce the best piece possible. While overall the video does a good job, Ryan is a really good instructor, there were a couple of spots, like when they were discussing the back stitch, where I wish the shot would have been a little bit closer so I could see exactly what was being done. Then again, that's what the rewind button is for. I don't have much experience sewing, so that was an area of concern for me. I didn't want to mess up the end of the stitching because then it could all just unravel. They also provide some written instructions filled with plenty of pictures which are helpful. And I like that they provide both. People typically prefer one of 3 main learning styles. They are auditory learners, where they learn best through listening and speaking. They're visual learners, where they best absorb information where they can see it. And then there's tactile learners, where you can best learn by doing. And all of the tools are provided for each of those types of learning styles. Before I began, I watched through the entire instruction video, and then I checked through the printed instructions in order to fill in some gaps. And I think that I'm ready to get working on this cover. I have my computer over here on the side with the instruction video as well as the written instructions up on there as well. This is just as a caveat, this video is not intended to be instruction in regard to assembly. I will leave that up to the leather experts. So let's get started. Okay, here is the finished product. I was a bit nervous going into this because I didn't want to screw it up. I remember years ago, I went to a restaurant where you could actually cook your own steaks, and I remember being worried the whole time I was just going to mess it up and ruin my meal. It took me a few minutes to get the hang of the stitching, but once I did, I really had the feeling that I could indeed do this. And I was pleased with the way this turned out. In regard to the stamps, the thing I was mainly concerned about was getting everything evenly spaced and in a straight line. It's straight for the most part. It's a little bit crooked. I'm assuming there's a tool to ensure alignment or something that holds multiple letters. You might have noticed on the video, but I used a square to try to make sure that I stayed straight here. And I'm not quite sure, I wasn't quite sure how much actual pressure to put and how hard to hit each one. And so there are a couple of little tool marks on the outside of this as well, but it's not too bad. It just adds a little bit of character. So what you are purchasing here is not only a notebook cover, but a project that will take you about 2 hours to complete. Would I like to assemble all of the leather products I purchased? No, I'll leave that to the professionals. But for a one-time project, I thought this was fun. It wasn't overly complicated, and having the video and written instructions was helpful. So now this piece is a bit more special. It is not just a leather field notes cover, it is the leather field notes cover I made myself. I felt the risk of me screwing this up was low. And what I mean by that is that, I wouldn't have wanted to spend money on this only to produce something that was messed up or embarrassing. On the Popov Leather site, this DIY kit is $59. If you would care to purchase a fully assembled version, which has the pen loops I mentioned earlier, the cost is a bit more at $74. I think that's an appropriate discount for the labor that they're saving by you assembling this yourself. And in the end, I was pleased with my work here. It was an entertaining way to spend an evening. If you would care to try your hand at leather crafting, then this is an ideal way of testing out to see if it's something you would care to pursue further. Thanks go out to Popov Leather for providing this kit for review. There will be a link in the notes below where you can check this out on their site. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.